tracking the death of counterculture over the past few decades and the gradual shift from sellout as an insult to sellout as an aspiration.
Selling out is just cultural common sense. It's no longer an insult, it's proof that you made it. The highest compliment is that you successfully monetized your influence.
I grew up counterculture. Now that I am an artist 14 years in, I'm actually now experiencing the things that I was countering.
People need money these days. So it's like everyone's trying to figure out any which way that they can get money.
But it's like 10 times worse than when you were a kid, because guess what? Every 10 years, they just keep moving the goalposts. They just can't vocally be my friend because they have decided that that industry route is the route they want to go.
Yeah, you might f the bag.
And I might f up their bag.
People deserve things?
Hardworking people deserve things.
Says who?
The person that's working hard.
Yeah, but people work hard all the time.
You're not owed. There's a difference between owed and deserving. We're moving into another segment that we do here on the podcast that we love. And sometimes you love it and sometimes you hate it. Indies Comedy Screens, ladies and gentlemen. Week to week, Dante and myself, we find something that's going on in the world of comedy or entertainment, something that relates to the world of comedy, a story, an article, a piece of footage of someone bombing.
Throwing pizza.
Yeah, something like that. And we give our 2 cents. And this week is no different, but it's not directly tied to comedy. I'm going to bridge the gap here. This is generally speaking for being an artist in this day and age. First of all, unmute it before you hit play for me. And yeah, it's.
Should I?
Let me read it. I think you should be able to. Yeah. And then just make it bigger.
No,
it doesn't matter yet. Okay. So this was a reel I saw on Instagram, and this is the caption: "We're living in a sell-out society. Today, tracking the death of counterculture over the past few decades and the gradual shift from sellout as an insult to sellout as an aspiration, with a little dose of capitalist realism plugged in." So it's one of these like you know freaking social media guys that's just breaking down the problems of society, as we like to do on this podcast. Once again, this is a comedy podcast, so we will bridge the gap here, and I will give my 2 cents on how this relates to my comedy career. But just to give some backstory, I mean, you've been with me week to week. If you've been paying attention to watching the podcast, first of all, love you, thank you. If you're new, hit the subscribe. You're looking kind of ugly, but you can be a beautiful person if you hit that sub right now. I've expressed, especially the last few episodes, how I'm counterculture.
The last few.
I'm trying to be. On every episode of this podcast, I, at some point, will mention how I am very counterculture, how I grew up anti-establishment, how I grew up listening to, I love skateboard culture, freaking punk rock, freaking gangster rap, all that shit, like all the tropes growing up. But then all that stuff just resonated with me and stuck with me my entire life. And it wasn't until I saw this reel, and you get that perspective from another person, like, He broke this down in such a way that I had like an epiphany. And I swear, Dante, like I'm not against it. I'm very happy about I'm proud of myself for being vocal and saying these things in a public fashion. Cause just like how, Patrice and them like inspired me to think critically about what I'm getting into and like, okay, do I just want to be a comedian or am I actually like, what do I want out of this? That's why I feel like it's important to speak like this. Again, like this. Only on our platforms though, not like, I don't know. Yeah. Outside of our platform doesn't make sense to me. Or on the comedy stage, you know what I mean? Like this seems like the place to diatribe like this. But when I heard this dude break this down like this, I was like, holy f***, this is everything that I've been feeling that I just haven't articulated like this. And when I heard it, it like created a sense of calm over me. And I'll get into that a little bit. I already like broke down a lot of the things over the course of these podcasts and stuff, but we'll watch this and then I won't speak. I'll let it all play out.
Art has become the aspiration. Today I want to talk about the death of counterculture and the sell-out society. In the 60s and 70s, punk, hippie, early hip-hop all began as direct challenges to mainstream culture and capitalism itself. As within the movements, right up until the 90s, there was one insult that stood above all others. Don't be a sellout. The argument being that commerce poisons the well of artistic expression and leaves your vision forever compromised in favor of marketing to conventional tastes. But now the script has been flipped. As soon as a counterculture reaches any level of societal popularity, it's immediately turned into an aesthetic to be packaged and sold. Now this has been happening since the 90s, when MTV recognized that nothing plays better on MTV than a protest against MTV. But it's been supercharged by algorithms. With everything visible, trackable, scalable, the path from outsider to influencer has never been more streamlined. The game now isn't to remain authentic on the margins, it's to leverage that authenticity just long enough to get your brand deal. Selling out is just cultural common sense. It's no longer an insult, it's proof that you made it. The highest compliment is that you successfully monetized your influence. This is a bona fide classic of capitalism. We don't need to defeat counterculture, we can just absorb it. Now, I think it's important not to be judgmental towards any individual that does this. Extreme cost of living pressures has made it incredibly difficult to live on the margins. And even much of the counterculture of the 60s and 70s came about because the subsidization of higher education allowed a much broader class of people to come together and explore alternative ideas for how to organize society. But now that the floor's dropped out, you've got to figure out how you're going to eat first before you start a revolution. But where does this leave us? With counterculture suffocated at point of origin, how are new ideas supposed to take root? And is there even a way for them to grow while resisting aestheticization? Later this week, I'm going to talk about how brands fueled the death of counterculture, whether there's a way out.
So tell me that isn't the most polite way of saying everything I've been saying on the podcast. Like this guy found a way to break it down in a minute.
Yeah.
And not have people hate him about it.
You took
Y'all niggas suck. And you try to sell me bullshit and your comedy's not even good. He found a way to say it nicer.
Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree before I start spilling my beans on this?
Hey, yo. No, 100%. Because the whole point is, once again, people want to be rich and famous. Right? So there was a creator that he was showing on the screen where they had the little Carmex thing, and then all of a sudden they're at the Met Gala or wherever.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's supposed to be like, well, they were just some niche creator beforehand, da-da-da-da-da. All of a sudden they make it, then they fall in line.
Make it. Yeah.
Well, make it to their own standards, you know? But that is what's happening. But then another good point he makes is like, well, people need money these days.
Of course.
So it's like, and everyone's trying to figure out any which way that they can get money.
So on Saturdays, as I do mostly with some of my friend group, we go to the farmer's market and stuff, and we just chill. It's like a bunch of artist friends and stuff. So today was just me and my one homie, who's like a brother to me, and he's a graph writer. And I swear to you, like we had groceries in hand, and we're like about to split. I'm going home, he's going home. And we must have stood on the hot corner with like full groceries for like an hour and a half.
Chicken melted in the bag.
And the discussion started, like it really ramped up when I brought this up. But this is how it started, because we're both at a place where it's like, we've been doing our art for so long, and it's like breaking past that threshold of, okay, now I want to survive. We didn't get in it because we want to be famous or make money and all that stuff. Like obviously that's a thing you think about, but it's not the reason you get in. Yeah. Then eventually you get good enough at your thing and you're like, you know what? I don't want a day job. I want to live off this. And it's like finding that what's been happening to me. And that's why, again, like doing this on the podcast is kind of catharsis for me too, right? Like I'm checking myself when we have conversations. You're checking me, I'm checking you, but like we're both too esoteric, spiritual type dudes. So we know what's happening. It's like, when you speak, it's me challenging me. When I speak, it's you challenging you. And then we both grow as individuals and as friends. It's like, yeah. So the process of me constantly talking about this stuff and me wanting to do it is because of Patrice. Yeah, definitely. And hearing the way he was just open about his experiences on the Opie and Anthony podcast, it helped me once I got in it and I started to see the things just even at the small scale of where I am. Yeah. I'm like, oh, it made me reassess. And 100%, especially in the days where I was doing that comedy villain character online. But I brought this up with my homie. I don't want to mention me and my crew, bro. I don't know if you can tell, but we're super private people. Like, I know it might not seem like much to you, but like all of us are like old school neuroses artists about our shit. Yeah. Like trying to be completely invincible to the man. But I kind of went the opposite route. Anyways, like you almost have to go through the process, and then it's sink or swim, right? Like I went through the stages of being jaded. It's like the stages of grief. You know, the however many stages of grief. First is denial, then it's anger or depression.
Yeah.
It's like these realizations of, okay, I got into comedy because I absolutely love comedy. And I want to be the best at this that I can be. And then eventually you get good and I'm like, okay, I want to support myself. That at that crossroad of me sticking to the guns of artistry and then seeing like a ton of people that I know and a ton of people that I don't know just go down this route of I want to be known, make money, this and that. Like it definitely came with a lot of like I was jaded for a bit. I don't ever think I was jealous because I've been on myself, but like I've been evolving as a being. I think I consider my birth as a person, honestly, at 22, when I was in my car accident. That's when I started really critically thinking about my life, about how I was acting, about my behavior, about my surroundings, about how I came up and all this, and started just figuring it out. And then like the same thing is kind of happening in terms of comedy. I'm 14 years into comedy, and how I look at that is I'm a 14-year-old in comedy. So I'm having like these realizations kind of in line with what a teenager would be having. It's like, okay, I've been existing now for a while. I feel like I have autonomy and a sense of self. Where I feel like I'm grateful is that my real life, I'm much older than 14. So all those lessons now apply, and it's almost like I can boost. Like I've deaded the jealousy thing. I think it's really negative, even towards yourself. If you see somebody in your field that is succeeding, like look at a boss. He's been doing this half the time that I have been, and he is way further.
Yeah.
You know, there's no part of me that looks at that and be like, the boss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even for people I don't like, I've made it a point that since the age of 22, like I'm shedding all these shitty traits about myself, anger, jealousy, like resentment, all this. And so that fed into my comedy. And that's why I am the way I am in comedy, you know, like that's why I'm but where I was infant about things, where I was still a 14-year-old about things, is that I didn't realize like all these realizations I had in my personal life that I'm feeding into comedy. I wasn't like checking myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like how much of this do I need to vocalize? How am I vocalizing this? Because I'm not trying to be out there. When I created the whole comedy villain character, my literal thinking behind it was, okay, in this day and age where I'm seeing everybody create online personas and characters and personalities to push their shit, I'll make mine the comedy villain. That'll be my page. But it's not to be a villain against comedians. It's to call out the bullshit like that I've been dealing with in the industry. That's why I have a problem with like podcast cringe and shit, because they're like, we're calling out the hypocrisy in comedy. I'm like, you're not in comedy. Let me tell you about the hypocrisy in comedy, because you only seem to be thinking hypocrisy is like Joe Rogan and his friends. Like, let's say what's actually happening to a comedian coming up. The hypocrisy that I literally deal with. Like, do you want to be more known, more money? Do you want like credits and all that stuff? I would feel like a hypocrite to myself. I would be going down paths that are just not authentic to myself. And the crazy part is what he's describing is exactly what I didn't realize I was viewing. I grew up counterculture. No wonder why I'm against this, the way the system is set up for artists.
Yeah.
Now that I am an artist 14 years in, I'm actually now experiencing the things that I was countering as a kid. But what he just described is so true. I grew up, and if you got called a sellout, your career was like, you're just a mainstream mark, and you're for you're just for mainstream like friggin' regular degulars, bro.
Yeah.
Like boring. They don't even really know the nuances of the art. They just like, oh, they heard you say something that they heard on the radio, so this is fucking hilarious. It's like that's the route that most of these people are taking. And I didn't even realize, bro, that's what's happened. It's not even just that. It's now the norm. Like success is selling out. Success is getting a podcast sponsor, like to sell for.
It depends on what you define as success.
Of course, well, monetarily.
Okay.
There was a route. There was, I feel like, more past, but now with the advent of socials and all that stuff, the reason Like I just shouldn't have even called myself the comedy villain. I should have just started presenting my socials as it is now.
Yeah.
Because I'm presenting it how I wanted to with that moniker, but I should have just been presenting it the label, and just let people figure it out.
Yeah.
What I've gotten better at is like posting more long form clips where people actually hear us having the dialogue.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, this shit is shit. It's like, that's a 30-second clip. It was like, yo, this guy's bitter or jaded or whatever, or he has no success himself, so he's just gonna say other people are shit. It's like, no, other people actually are shit, but like, that's what's incentivized.
Yeah.
And that's not even to say that they're all garbage. Like, there's so much talent there, obviously. And there are a lot of people in the mainstream spaces that are just as talented as the real, I think, the real heroes who don't go that route and just stick to their guns. It's just...
You know what I was thinking the other day? Because Corey Holcomb was talking about the movie 300 and how, like... And I have to go back and watch 300.
Okay.
But he talks about taking the GOAT path.
Yeah, Corey.
You know what I mean? So like, I want to go back and see the scene that he's talking about because everyone goes down the one path and this is the way that everyone's going if you want to make it. But there's a hidden like trail that you could take. It's harder. It's da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. So I have to add an asterisk to this, which is probably going to throw some people just like, okay, you know what? This argument, F it now. I'm just not even going to listen. But to me, and this isn't like God, devil, good, bad type shit, but the whole aspect of life is spiritual. In my eyes, in my viewpoint, this is no different.
Yeah.
This is absolutely no different. When he's talking about, like, you grow up, and this is what me and my homie on the corner were talking about. It's like, because he was making the argument that was like, yo, at some point, how do you tell a person who's in the game of, we'll just use comedy because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Who's been in the game of comedy, who now has kids.
Yeah.
Mouths to feed.
Yep.
No longer just worried about himself. How are you like going to say that that's the wrong path for you to take when now you have so many other things to work? It's not just about you and what you want and how you want to approach the game and
100%.
taking the longer route to get the same accolades, but taking a way longer route because the other way will platform you a lot sooner. You'll be seen. You could be even promote some Nike shit. Oh, look at this, the Nike comedian. Like fucking Kevin Hart has shoes. What the fuck are we doing here? To me personally, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I like some of the Gaga songs. What the fuck does she know about cameras?
But you're a stand-up comedian. You're going to stand up in your socks?
You're off the show. But I get it. I completely, and there was a part of me that didn't think about that early, like years ago. And now that I'm progressing, I'm maturing, and I'm seeing my friends have kids, and like, it's like, well, they're making it in the industry of comedy, and they're supporting their families and stuff. How is that not success? That's absolutely success, and I don't think it knocks them for going the industry route. Like, but does that change? And this is where I say it's spiritual, because like, this is what you would classify in esoteric sense, a demiurge. Anything that keeps you locked into, like humanity and friggin' not evolving spiritually. If you're an esoteric person, if you're looking at any spiritual, like this isn't a religion thing. Literally every spiritual faith tells you the same thing. Every religion tells you the same thing. Every spiritual practice, they're all telling you.
We're at 5:30.
It's you in this world. And that's all you really got. You can't control anybody else. You can't save anybody else. And every time you try to, you usually end up suffering. And that's what was happening with me, right? I'm trying to be like, no, but this is bullshit. But it doesn't even matter. I mean, the majority of the game has always been mainstream. And always mainstream has always been the lowest common denominator. And that's not to say that you can't find people in the mainstream that still have like that think like you and act like, because bro, we still participate in mainstream stuff too. Like you went to Marvel stuff and like I go to wrestling, you know what I mean? Like, so like you have to kind of check yourself. I'm happy that that's happened over time, but the way this guy articulated exactly, like that's exactly what I've experienced and I haven't articulated, but I've been feeling.
Yeah.
It's now the cool thing to sell out. It's actually the way people perceive success now is you're not successful unless you have like 100,000 plus followers and you have some sponsorship, like you're selling them some friggin' whatever, merch.
But that's the times we're in, right? Because think of it.
No, because there has always been commercial.
No, but hold on, let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
Because back in like your day, right? No, let me land.
Back in my day.
Let me land, right?
Let me land. Yeah.
The people that were either artists or skaters or whatever, right? They
Counterculture people,
right? And there's still counterculture people today, but there's also a lot more people on their phones on TikTok.
Well, that's what didn't exist. We're inundated 24/7 now.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Because now what people see as making it, whereas before it's like what I see as making is being able to, gap the 16 set, as a skater, and just you can hit El Toro and do a back 360. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's making it as a skater, being a good skateboarder. But now what's making it as a skateboarder now is having 100,000 followers on TikTok.
Like a Monster Energy drink on your helmet.
Exactly. And that's like making it as a skater, even if you're maybe not the best skater, but you've got a big following.
But see, this is
because that's what people coming up are seeing as someone that made it.
But this is by design, bro. This isn't by accident.
I'm not
saying that. I'm not saying it, but like I'm going with what you're saying.
Yeah.
This is by design, and this is why I say it's spiritual, bro. Like the only way the world continues to get more fucked up, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a soapbox guy, but the reason that you look around you, everywhere on this earth right now is on fucking fire, and it's only progressively getting worse. Our money's worth less. Everybody's money's worth less. This is less job opportunities. Let me get through this.
Let me land.
Yeah, let me land. It's like, how do we not stop and like, bro? We just keep going with the flow. It's because, like, I'm the crazy person because I'm stopping to be like, hey, can we all like stop and look at this for a second? Whereas, especially now because social media, you could see a million people making it, selling you something before you see one of me's.
Yeah.
So I look even crazier now. Whereas back in the day, like I feel like there was more healthy dialogue, and it was
there was dialogue,
and it was healthy because you can make it one of two ways. You could still make it and not go the commercial route. I mean, you can do that now, but what even is that without having to go down a lot of these paths that most likely you might not have or wouldn't have in the past?
Yeah.
And where I keep saying it's spiritual, bro, like, we're going again, like we're giving into the degradation of life. And then we don't stop and ask ourselves how we got here. But by the time we do, it's like, oh, it's too late. And they've already pushed things so far along. You know what I mean? Like, how is it that this has been able to flip? At what point did we stop paying attention to the fact that, yo, this person's a real, like, they're just selling out. They're just trying to.
Okay, here's a question. Is it like, people that were older, that they stopped paying attention, or it's the younger people that are coming up that they just...
It's a mixture of both.
Right?
You start having kids.
Yeah.
You start, you get bills. You get locked into, I need to make money to survive.
Yeah.
Now I have to go down this route.
Yeah.
Because sure, I want to stick to my guns and be vocal about what I'm experiencing or whatever, but I have mouths to feed and I have responsibilities, and now like it's not just about me. That's what life is. That's what life is. They lock you into some bullshit and then you get stressed out until you die, and then it just keeps moving along.
Yeah.
But it's like 10 times worse than when you were a kid, because guess what? Every 10 years they just keep moving the goalpost until now it's actually seen as normal to sell out. And I'm the crazy guy being like, what the why is everything so commercial and not about the passion of things? I get it. You want to support yourself and your family and all this shit.
Yeah.
And like, of course, you want to travel. Like last week when you weren't here, I really went on this tirade about Live Nation and Ticketmaster. Like, and now it's the cool thing for comics to be getting a Live Nation like tour. But it's like, are we not seeing what Live Nation is doing to live art? Like, they're completely destroying it. They have, with Ticketmaster, created some sort of hybrid baby, and they own all the venues, and they have all the artists locked down under contract. And it's like, okay, a couple of the artists are shining.
Yeah.
And then the whole art form, and this is what I'm saying, nobody fucking cares about the actual whole thing. They just care about themselves. It's not about, but enough basic people see that, and that's what they, that's what they aspire to be like too. This guy made it. He has 100,000. He has 500,000 and a sponsorship and a friggin' this and that.
Yeah.
Oh,
did you see Kai Cenat's doing a streamer university?
we lost, bro.
I want to say, just going back, because you're talking about there's so many people going with the flow. And earlier, I described Thunderbolts as a depression movie, but I didn't want to use the word depression because it literally opens up with one of the main characters saying, like, I don't even know what I'm doing with my life. I'm just going with the flow.
Interesting.
I'm just a leaf in the wind in a river. You know what I mean? Like, and then so she's trying to deal with that. Like, I'm going with the flow, but I don't feel right inside. Why don't I feel good?
It's tough, bro. It really is tough. And you know what gets tough? The longer you stay in things. You know where I'm at now? And this is why I'm so grateful that I am who I am. And I've been working through my life traumas when I did. And now I feel just clean.
540, by the way.
I just feel clean in life. But I'll end it here. What I'm at the point now, 14 years in, where a lot of the people in my immediate peer group are starting to get more things, out of the game of comedy. Even like a boss, like we talked about earlier, people that came up after me are getting more quote unquote things in the world of comedy. I'm so grateful that I have worked on myself to the point where I don't look at that and I'm jaded or jealous. I'm motivated and I'm driven, and I'm like, there's no difference between that person and me. It's just I'm taking a much different route, and I'm so much more at peace with that, especially hearing things like this. It makes things make more sense. But what makes it tougher, is like, how many of my friends in my immediate peer group are still my friends. We talk regularly. And you know how many of them like appreciate that I'm vocal about this stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes, man, thank you, this and that, which I'm not doing it for that either. But like almost none of them, unless the ones that really just are like me, they don't like, bro, perception is whatever.
Yeah.
Your perception of me is your perception of me. But a lot of these people can't be my friend vocally in the scene anymore. They can't accept the tags on my posts anymore. They just can't vocally be my friend because they have decided that industry route is the route they want to go.
Yeah, you might fuck up the bag.
And I might fuck up their bag, which I don't resent them for that.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I think it's super important. I know why I'm where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a key role in all of this. Because if I wasn't doing all this internalizing and checking and meditating and like really thinking about what I'm saying and refining it, I'm doing it in real time. So there's been times where I've fucked up.
Yeah,
the comedy
taken you 2 seasons to finally get to this point.
Well, I mean, the comedy, but that's what this is.
I know.
That's literally what this is. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to present myself as being some perfect entity. Like I just came out the bag and all of a sudden I have these sponsorship deals, but I'm still not funny. You know who you are. Most of you. Again, it's just I'm just saying me. I'm just doing me. But it's made it so much easier. I'm even less not less, like I'm just not even upset at the fact that like, yo, I'm kind of happy for them now. I'm seeing it. I'm like, okay, well, you're in a position in life where you feel like you have to go this route. Good for you. That has nothing to do with me. But it's also just interesting to see how people can't vocally be my friend. Like some of them can't because it might affect, I can't get on this friggin' festival now. Bruh. If you're in it for life, and I ain't going away. Like until I die, I'm just doing this, and I'm not trying to be like, I need a legacy or whatever. Nigga, maybe when I first started, I'm like, I want to be like Chappelle.
Legacy is part of the ego. Who needs a legacy?
Get ego, my nigga.
Legacy doesn't mean shit.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. But yeah, do you have any anything you want to add to that? Because we're gonna wrap it up here.
What do I have to add to that?
Am I crazy? I love asking you this question because I feel like I like getting the honest feedback because I know sometimes I'm stepping outside of like a realm of reality because it's just me thinking like this. So like, do I sound bitter, crazy, jaded, or angry, or
No, because
resentful?
I relate to it. You know, there are times where I could have did things where I didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or like taking the easy road. I don't want to call it that, but I could have taken the comfortable road, we'll say.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I could. You see a lot of guys where they'll get a nice job, and this is just not even comedy wise, life wise.
Yeah.
They'll get a nice job, but they don't like it, but there's not much risk in it.
Mm.
And they're just
They can
chill.
coast.
They can coast. But I think that coasting is actually more painful than what you would face.
Hell yeah.
You know, facing it earlier on.
Hell yeah, bro.
Trying to like decalcify your eyes, you know?
I feel like it also gets to a point where you just start believing your own bullshit. Like, when you go down that path, man, there's so much self-congratulatory bullshit energy in that route. It's like awards and all the, you know what I mean? Like awards.
Yeah.
This shit is so subjective. Art is so subjective.
Mm-hmm.
What the f are we talking about awards, my nigga?
Yeah.
Like that route. Oh, credits. Now I'm better than you because I have these credits.
Yeah.
It's like, I've demystified so much of show business to myself by being in it. And it's kind of the most beautiful thing.
Mm.
Like even like venues and stuff. Like I used to feel like, oh, as a comedian, I have to perform here. Like, bro, I'm so okay with everything I've been doing because I'm living life.
Yeah.
And I feel alive and I feel good about what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't, then there'd be an issue. You know? So like, damn, bro, whatever your path is, just make sure you're on it because you want to be and not because of social pressures or whatever. Like take the GOAT path. It's okay. It might take you a little or a lot longer to get where you want to. And here's the fucked up part. You might not get to where you know you absolutely deserve to. I mean, okay, absolutely. Absolutely, bro. Because if we're talking about
people deserve things,
hardworking people deserve things.
Says who?
The person that's working hard.
Yeah, but people work hard all the time.
You're not owed. There's a difference between owed and deserving.
I don't see it, but that's me.
How is there no difference?
Because I could say I work hard.
I owe you $50 versus you deserve $50.
Why do I deserve?
Because you put in $50 worth of work.
So why don't I deserve $20? Why don't I deserve $3,000?
That's up to you to say how much you're worth.
I know, but
and
that's
then
why
make other people believe it.
But that's why I think you're not okay. So maybe you get what you deserve, but you're not.
You have to prove it. You have to prove your worth.
No, you don't. You're not owed what you deserve. Like
that's what I said.
Just because, but you said because you work hard, you deserve to get this.
Well, let me finish.
I don't.
In the context of there are complete bums.
Yeah.
Getting accolades.
Yeah.
There are complete heroes who will go completely unnoticed, and they do deserve some shine. You're telling me they don't?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I'm trying to.
They're not owed it.
Yeah.
The world doesn't owe you shit, but you put some work in, and damn right you deserve something.
Okay.
I would imagine.
I want to look up the definition of deserve.
Let's do it before we get out of here. Do it quick though, please.
Because I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right? Like you know me, I work hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I can work as hard as I work and da-da-da-da.
Well, if you work 20 hours, then you're owed 20 hours salary, if that's what's agreed upon. They can overlap. I think deserve and owe can overlap. Like in that situation, you deserve the money that you're owed, but
to be worthy of.
Deserve, to be worthy of, to earn by service, to be worthy of something due either good or evil. Okay, now type in owe. To be indebted to the amount of, I have a moral or legal obligation to render or offer. To be in debt to.
Yeah.
So you work and I owe you money.
Yeah. Like I understand what you're saying, but
let's say we don't have an agreement and you just did a bunch of stuff. And if I have the means, you're gonna tell me you don't deserve a little something if I can do it?
If we have an agreement, then yeah.
Besides the agreement, owed and deserve.
No. If we don't have,
you don't think you would deserve at least, not you don't have to say it.
I know, but you could just, I can think I deserve it,
Yeah.
and you can think I don't. So which one is right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Because I'm not going to name names, but I don't even want to go into the story. But they're like, you don't deserve the credit that you would get for this. And I'm like, why not? Why don't I deserve when I feel like I deserve it? You know?
Yeah.
Am I gonna get the credit and then do I deserve to? I don't know.
All right, fair enough. You know, that's the one caveat where I'll be like, you know, I'm willing to concede on this because I don't think it defaults my whole argument. It was just like one little aspect of it.
Yeah, like if you work hard, you should be rewarded.
But I would imagine
it's
somebody
not-
who's actually good and cares definitely should feel like they deserve something if they worked as hard, if not harder, than someone who just takes the more commercial route. Not saying that the commercial route always means they're working less hard. No, actually, a lot of the times you're working really hard
Yeah.
to do some commercial bullshit.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean you're not working as hard.
But okay, so here's an example, right? If a guy just digs holes and he works his ass off, he digs holes 3 days straight, and he's, whoosh, you know, he's like Francis and Gunn. I guess he got what he deserved. Anyways, you know, like
Yeah.
you dig holes and you're working harder than the guy that he just puts fries in the bag.
Yeah.
You know, but you're digging holes. Do you say you should get more money even though you're getting paid less for digging the holes? You're working way harder,
It depends on what you're agreed upon.
but you're working way
Who the
harder.
f- is going to start work without having some sort of agreement? You start a job and they're like, we will pay you this much for this many hours.
At
You
that-
do. You
but
hold
then
up your
At
end.
that point, you're owed and you don't deserve.
Fair enough. Great.
Yeah, because you made an agreement.
But you just kind of proved my point that there's a difference. Like there's difference.
There is, but that's why
There's
I was stuck
difference.
on the deserve word in
Yeah.
the first place.
It's all subjective.
Hey, it's Hen Dog.
Black Zeus the Podcast Season 6, featuring Black Zeus and Dante, aka Black Zeus on YouTube